loan officers. So if you do have a question or you have a strategy you want to learn, if there's something you think you're missing that you want me to show you, please drop it down in the chat box, or it's a small enough group. You can also raise your hand and I can unmute you if you do have a mic, and we can talk through it. Make sure that you understand what it is that you need to understand by the time you get off this call. So again, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat box, raise your hand. This is led by the loan officers. I'm not the one choosing what subject we talk about. This really is, what do you need? So everyone's a little quiet this morning. Let's start by asking who in here is brand new to Mortgage Coach? Raise your hand if you're brand new to Mortgage Coach. So we have a couple that are brand new to Mortgage Coach. So I'm going to go in just a quick conversation about being brand new. When you're brand new to Mortgage Coach, the first thing you really have to realize is that Mortgage Coach is based off of the philosophy that you're going to use templates, and templates are going to speed up your process. So in order for you to even jump into Mortgage Coach, have your templates prepared. There's 3 basic sets of templates. 2 of them are necessity. The third one, the strategy template, that comes into play after you have your first 2 templates built up. Those are really easy, and those just make it even faster for you to be able to go in. Templates can be set up in that settings area. The first set of templates you would want to build is your fee templates. Fee templates are going to have anything that is on your loan estimate that is not prepaid days of interest or anything handled in escrow. Everything else is going to be in here. So how are you going to build these out? Print out an LE, print out a something from the company that shows all of your fees on it, and then simply start by creating new template, place in the template name. If you produce in different states, you can even choose what state. I'm going to say this one is going to be for an Alabama. Then I can click on OK. Now I'm going to add the fees that I need to add to it. So there's an add fee button. Clicking on that add fee button comes up, and then I can add. So let's say we're going to start with processing. I type the P to get down to processing, and then processing fee. Adding that processing fee. Processing fee is an APR fee, so I want to make sure anything that's APR is listed, and then I would add my next one, underwriting. And just adding that underwriting cost. Again, it is APR. Credit report. So I can go through and I can add in all of these as needed. If I can find credit report, there it is. Once I have a solid list of all my fees that I want to add, I do not have to start from scratch. I can simply go into create a new template, or I can simply go down to, save as, and I can save this template that I just started. So I'm going to say this is my, and I'm going to say this one's for Alaska. Clicking on OK, most of my fees are probably going to stay the same, and I can just come in and I can change any fee that does adjust based on that new location. And again, I would do the same thing, save as, rename it, and just change those fees needed. Now, a few fees in here that I do like to talk about and that is useful. First of all, the fee templates that you should have are the basic ones you use. FHA, VA, USDA, conventional, jumbo. If you're always doing a down payment assistance program, Home Ready, have a Home Ready template. so you have all those templates in place. And once you get started, honestly, that first one might take you maybe 15 minutes or so you can get it set the way you want. But after that, it's going to take you another half hour, maybe at most, to get all those fee templates in. It's really not super time consuming. It's just tedious more than anything else. It's getting that information in the first place and then being able to drop it in. Couple of fees, let's say we're doing a down payment assistant one. So I'm going to just, save as, and I'm going to say this is my FHA Home Ready. Again, placing it in whatever state it is in. If I do multiple states, if I don't do multiple states, I'm not going to worry about that second step. And now I'm going to add the fee, down payment assistance. So down payment assistance is already set up. And I have to find the one that pertains because I have a bunch of samples in here. It is already set up, so it automatically subtracts from your closing cost. And on this one, if you set it in here to broker paid, you don't have to keep resetting it when you go back to your actual page. So you'll be able to set that in here. And then remember to add your processing fee for here. If you want it labeled down payment assistant processing fee, we do not have that in the system. You can actually add a custom fee, call it down payment assistant processing fee. Make sure you mark it as an APR fee and then click on OK, and then it will be forever in your system. If you do not do that, what's going to happen is you're going to have, like me, because I do samples all the time, you're going to have a ton of the same fees listed in there every time. So remember, once you build a fee one time, it stays within the system. You do not have to create it every time, only once. So the other fee that I suggest is if you're in a field or a market that does have seller concessions being offered, you can come in here and you can add contribution. Now, just because it's in this does not mean you have to use it. You can come in when you're building out your presentations and easily delete it by clicking that X. Any questions on the fee template or any fees that you're unsure of how you would handle if they go in here or not? If there is, again, small enough group, you can raise your hand or drop it in the chat box, either one. I do know that some states have property tax that are beyond the normal property tax, a state tax that you have to pay, and you do have reserves on that state tax. I'll show you where you can add that state tax, but you'll want to create a reserves or see if there's a fee already in here for your state tax reserves, and you'll want to create that account as well. And I'm just going to see if there is a state tax reserve fee, or you could just put taxes reserves. But you can add that reserves in here. When you do, make sure that you are marking, if you add it as a custom fee, a default prepaid, because we don't want that to reflect into our short-term savings area. So any questions on any of that info? Everyone's so quiet today. Okay, I'm going to go back into settings. And now we would go to our second settings, our product template. Product templates, the difference between the first template we did, the closing cost template, and the product template is now that we have our fees in place with that closing cost template, we're going to throw it into another template, but we're also going to add anything else that would stay stagnant in that from client to client. So anything client specific is not going to be added in here, but if it stays the same from client to client, you can add it in here. Reason why you would want to do this is because it simply removes keystrokes and you having to go through every single product and add in each field. So again, I'm going to start it by clicking the create a new template, and we're going to do our FHA sample. Now remember, in the other one, I had it listed by state. This one does not. So Alabama, I could put Alabama or Alaska up here. And I could put just the initials and then put the name of the template. Now, since this is FHA, we know there's going to be an upfront premium. I'm going to add that upfront premium in here. Down payment assistance. Majority of the time I do 3.5. I'm going to add that 3.5 in here. My upfront MI, I want to switch it so I can do my percentage. And majority of the time I add it to the loan. So I'm going to add it to the loan in here. Interest rate changes. Not going to add that interest rate. And I like showing 15 days of prepaid interest. I typically have two types of loan officers. Ones that like showing 1 or 5 and one that likes showing 15. It doesn't matter which one you show. What matters is that you are consistent from template to template. That way you know every time you use your template, it is the exact same information in the exact same spot. And majority of the time it's a 30-year product. I'm going to put the 360. Now if you do other ones, you could add this up here and put 30-year. Remember, this line is a descriptor to tell you what's in this template. If this also had my home ready, I could have added my home ready up there. So I know for me, because no one else is going to see this but me, I know what needs to be clicked on in order to get the results that I want. Now I'm going to add my closing cost. I already have built that template out. Remember, I can go right to here, and then I could go in and find that template. Apparently, Alabama, I have a lot of them. And then once I have everything in here, I'm simply going to apply it. Points, again, client specific, not going to add it. And then monthly cost. So here's the rule of thumb with monthly cost. If you use percentages, then what's going to happen is if that product or if the house price changes, it's automatically going to update your property tax percentage. Now, hazard insurance, you can use percentage as well, and I do recommend it because, again, that adjustment. Or if you know that your company uses $80 for underwriting for qualifying, you can throw that $80 in there. But no matter which way you choose to do it, make sure you stay consistent from product to product. If I use 0.35 here, I'm going to use 0.35 in every single product template I build. Now here's that other field I talked about. You can put your taxes in there. So if I wanted to do that other field, I could come in and I could put the amount in there, and then I do have to go in and name that other field. Mortgage insurance is in here as well. We have our monthly. There is no cutoff and 360-month minimum. And then my reserve months. Again, best estimate based on the high times of business, because that's when you want to be able to come in here and not have to change it constantly. I know every state is different. Some states or some people put 6 and 6, or some of them, they have to collect almost the full year at the beginning based on the state that you're in. So whatever makes sense here, and most of the time if you look at your loan estimate, it typically uses the same thing on your loan estimate every time. So you might look at your loan estimate and see what it has in there as well. Clicking off, now I have this one all prepared. Again, I don't need to start from scratch. I can just click Save As, and I can produce my next template. Then if you send me an email, tina@mortgagecoach.com, I will send you the link to where my Thursday calls are all kept. And that way you can jump into there. And good for you for your phone ringing off the hook, answer it, and go lock those loans. So again, I'm simply going to save as, create the new one, only change the factors that need to be changed in each template. Now, how many templates do you need in here? It depends on your business. If you only use a basis of 5 products in your business, 5 templates are going to be great. let's say you have 5 products, but once in a while you do a home ready. You can choose to have that home ready in here, or you can choose just to add those couple of fees. It really comes down to what is going to be easiest for you when you're ready. Now, what products do I suggest in here? A 30-year fixed, a 15-year fixed. The 30-year fixed, I suggest probably a 20% down, a 10% down, and a 5% or a 3% based again on your production. Have those percentages already in there, so all you have to do is drop that template in there. FHA. The FHA, you can have both the high balance FHA and a normal FHA if you do them. If you don't, only have this basic FHA in there. VA, I suggest a first time use and a subsequential use after that. So you have both of those. If you always do 0% down VAs, you don't need any of the others. You just need the ones that you do. USDA, if you never touch it, don't have it. If you do them, have it. So at most, I would say a person is going to have at most 15 templates in here. If you have more than 15 templates, it's great if you're using them, but don't spend time building out templates that you're only going to use once or twice. If you're working a construction site that has 35 homes to sell and you want to throw in a template, I would absolutely throw in a template for those 35 homes so I don't have to remember, oh, this product always has an HOA on it. They have a special tax on it. I will automatically have anything pertaining to that loan in the system already. So all I have to do is put the construction site template in place. And you can name it by the construction site. Now, what if you started building out and now you just learned a whole bunch of stuff and you're like, darn, I want to start over. If you are an enterprise company, this may be turned off. But if you are not an enterprise company, all you have to do is go in here and there's a little X. So I'm going to go down to my samples. And you just click on that little X. Wherever my sample went, I don't know where it went, but I'm just going to come in and randomly delete. Clicking on OK. I can delete out everything and start from scratch. Same thing with your fee templates. If you are not an enterprise company, you have this available. If you are an enterprise company, they may have turned it off and you can't do it. So it really comes down to the company you work with. Any questions on templates? Okay, now we're going to go, Tina, I'm ready to build a 5-minute TCA. What do I need to do? You need to have strategy templates. More likely, you have some already in your strategy template tab. Those do not have your fees already in there. So simply to update those fees, you're going to click on the template that it is, and you're going to edit the template. All you need to do, and I like switching mine to individual so I don't have to change it every time, is go to the product, drop your product template for that product. So I'm just going to find an FHA 3.5% purchase, click on OK, go to my next product, 3% down. Again, hopefully I have a 3% down in here. If I didn't build a 3% down, or if I want to change it, I have a 5%. I use 5% more often. I'm going to simply change it to a 5%. Make the product name something that you want. Your clients do see this. So I would, in my case, I would make it something more clear, but make sure they also match between the two, because again, it is marketing as much as it is giving your client information. You want it to look aesthetically pleasing. Now this one is completely done. If I want to go in and make a couple other adjustments, I might adjust my analysis page so it's set up for my average client. And the other thing I always suggest is when you go into the client, the contact information, The only one that shows up on the presentation is this center section. Your new home. If you produce in only one state, add that state. If you don't add the state. Just leave your new home. And this way, when you go in with that strategy template, you copy the strategy template, you're not going to have to be typing in all this information. It's already there, and you can literally jump, put in your client information, and jump right to your assumptions, put in how much they qualify for, and then right to the product, add your interest rate. If you do need to change any fees, you can change it, add your interest rate, change any fees you need, and you have a complete presentation at that time. How many things am I adding at that point? 7 to 10 items. I'm not going in and typing everything out and filling in every field. This is a quick TCA that is complete for your client. And then if there is other information you want to have in there, great, you can add it in there. But if you just want to kick out a presentation really fast, then that's all you need to do is just throw it in there. You can build presentations, those strategy templates by yourself. I clicked on new client. There is a spot right here that says, is this a strategy template? Yes, it is. You'll notice the only thing it does is add 2 asterisks in front of that template name. So now I can go in and I can add whatever products I want. Let's say I'm doing home ready versus a straight FHA. I'm only going to put that name in there. I'm going to go to my goal, purchase a new home, because I do not want to show a current loan situation. The other top 3 and the bottom 3 show that loan situation, so I just want purchase a new home. If I did want to add your new home, I'm going to add that to my property. And then I'm going to go right into my products. Product 1, home ready. Again, add product from template. It really does come down, and I don't know if I have it in here, it really does come down to being able to throw in stuff extremely fast. So you don't have to think about it when you're building these out. I'm just going to use my FHA and add in. So I used my FHA. I'm going to add in my closing costs, my down payment assistance. Add fee. Comes to the bottom of the list, typing my D, and then going down to down payment assistance, adding in whatever my home ready that I use most frequently. I'm going to say 5%. And then I would add my processing too. Let's go through and add my processing fee. And processing, it's 1%. Applying that to the loan, it's complete. Now I can go to my second product, which is going to be able to be opened up from the end of my monthly. Add another product, and this is simply going to be my FHA. FHA, I just need to add from that template. Whoops, I added the other one. I want to keep it consistent. And finally, if I do want to adjust my analysis, I can adjust anything in this screen based on my average client and how I would like to see it displayed to them. And now when I go to the strategy templates, it's right at the top of that list. So any questions on building out templates? Okay, last thing is how to use this template. Clicking on Home Ready, I'm now going to copy it to a new client. Once I copy it to a new client, and we have Chad on the call, we're going to use Chad as our client. I would add in Chad's information, add in Chad's phone number, because remember, if I add it here, every time my client closes that presentation, I get that notification that says, hey, Chad looked and viewed at this for 47 minutes on this day at this time. Here is Chad's phone number. If I open those notifications up on my phone, I can just touch his phone number and call him directly without me having to go look it up or anything. If I wanted to add a partner, I can add that in. They'll only get the notification, and then I'm going to put purchase here. Now everything's in there. I'm going to go right to my home ready. And in my home ready, I'm going to add my interest rate. Now I'm going to go right to my FHA. In this case, my FHA is probably going to be the same one, but I did notice I didn't put a price in there. That is going to be under my assumptions, how much they qualify for. Everything is in there that I need. Now, can I go back and adjust anything in here that I need? Absolutely. I can go in and make any changes that I need to make based on my client's situation. It's super easy just to back it up and go into there. But reality is I have a complete presentation and I've only added a few items and I've taught you and walked through it, and it's been like 3 minutes. Because I minimize the amount of time that I spend doing data entry by building my account correctly in the first place. So everything is in there and I can quickly just drop it in. Raise your hand if anyone wants me to go through the presentation and talk through what your client receives. So if you are unsure of reading the TCA total cost analysis, let me know. Looks like we're all good on here. Anyone want me to go through Mortgage Coach Live? How to do Mortgage Coach Live. And that is when I am with my client is at home, and I am on my computer, how to drive the presentation for my client. Cool, looks like we are all good on that one too. Oh, okay, Karen. So if I'm driving that for my client, and Karen, I just want to make sure that that's what you want and you don't have a question. Please allow to talk because you and I are old friends by this point, so.
Yes, please, if you can walk me through it, that'd be awesome.
Okay. So when you're with your client or you send it to your client, you can copy that, paste that in here. This is your client opening it up. Now, even on my screen, I know it's the client screen because if I look in the upper right-hand corner, I cannot see that there are viewers. On mine, I now see that there is one viewer. I'm going to post it down in the chat box as well, so if anyone does want to click on it, what I will see is if anyone clicks on it, my viewers will go up. I can have as many viewers in there as I need or want to have in there. So there is no limit on how many people can view it with me as I walk through it. The first thing I always like to do once a client is in there is I like having it on this view right here, because then it's easier for me to navigate. I also clear out all of my highlights. So if I send it to them with highlights, I'm going to clear it out. Now, as I go through the presentation, first thing I'm going to do is ask them, okay, so I just clicked on the cash to close, and you can see that that home ready does have a lot less cash to close. Raise your hand if you see that highlighted on your screen. So I see most of you have it. So what I'm doing there is I'm gauging how long is it going to take me to go ahead and go into it and talk about it before my client sees it on their presentation as well. So here's your cash to close. As you can see, without the home ready, you do need almost 18,000. We know that you're really tight here, so that's why I'm thinking the home ready might be a good choice. If I click into the more information, it's going to pop up onto your screen as well. And again, I can talk about, oops, the home ready, I didn't put MI in there, but I could talk about that MI factor here coming into play. Then I can go to my closing cost and I can go through my closing cost. Now on here, the one thing I do love is, let's say I want to go down to the bottom screen, and don't scroll down if you're watching it, just stay where you are. I click on either bar on there it's going to automatically scroll down to that section that you're talking to. So you don't have to tell them to scroll down the page. You just need to activate it by clicking on somewhere in the graph and highlighting that spot in the graph. And then I'm able to talk about that graph. And then I'm able to go into the more information in that graph as well. And my client can easily follow along because I'm moving the screen for them. Any questions or concerns on that? Everyone's so quiet today. So a couple other things. Upper left-hand corner, you have this menu bar, and I'm going to open it back up like I'm a client, but so does your client. Why is this important? This is important because you want your client to know they can share this presentation. So if they go in here, they have a share button. Teach them that, you know what, if you want your realtor to have a copy of this, send the link to your realtor and they can just click on that if it's all set up. If not, copy and highlight it and just post it into an email and send it over. That way you're staying within compliance and the client is providing that TCA link to the realtor. You also may have translate in here. That will allow your clients to be able to translate it to Spanish. If you are working in a community where, let's say, you're working with someone who speaks English, but they're Hispanic and you know that their family speaks or is more comfortable with speaking Spanish, teach them that they have the ability to show their family in Spanish, especially the majority of the Hispanic culture. It's a family decision. It's not really based as much on just that individual as much as the family. So you want to make sure that the family is in the loop. So having that is going to be a huge win for you as the loan officer compared to competition. You also have your Start Now button. This should be directed to your online application. If you do not see that Start Now button in your settings, scrolling down to your URL here, you'll see it blank. You'll want to place it in there. So if I wanted to place it in there, let's say I'm going to go to my mortgage coach, my Start Now button, which would be new membership sign up, simply copying and pasting it in there. There's no save button in here. How am I going to save it? Just clicking to the next screen. Make sure your headshot's in there. If you want a team shot, add your team in there. That's okay. You want it to represent you as the loan officer out there in the field. It's a marketing tool as much as it is an educational tool for your team. Trying to think of anything else in here. Make sure that you have an MLS in front of your license number so it's easily identified on the presentation. So any questions or anyone pop on that has a question that wants me to dive into another direction? I mean, honestly, if you get those 3 templates set up, you are going to be kicking out presentations faster than you know it. It really does come down to just understanding those template systems. Let's say I don't go in and build out a strategy template. That's okay too, because all I have to do is go in here and we're going to say Ben is my client, adding Ben in there, adding his phone number, putting purchase on the presentation name. You have to go into goals. You have to choose a goal. I'm going to choose purchase because that doesn't open up. If I'm doing a refi, I would choose one of the other options. Assumptions, I'm going to put in his property value. And then my products, naming the product. I'm going to show a 30-year with points and without. Adding product from template. I'm just going to drop in my 30-year 20% down. I'm going to add in my interest rate. You'll see everything else. Oops, I don't have my closing cost in that template. I do. There's just no APR, non-APR cost. If I have, this one's with no points, so I'm going to leave that blank. Everything else is filled in for me. Add a second product. So this one's going to be 30-year with points. I'm not going to do from a product template. I'm actually going to just copy that product I just built and do okay. That's going to give me two identical loan scenarios. I know the only thing I need to change, my interest rate will go down, and I'm going to add my point or however much is here. A quick view. Did I do it right? Does everything look good? Right here on this side, the amount of the loan, LTV, prepaid interest, cash to close. If those all look right, you're good to go. Let's say I'm unsure if my client is going to qualify DTI, putting that extra money down, or not putting that extra money down and paying that point because they were qualified before, rates went up. I can come in here in my affordability and I can add in the basic information. Now when I go to my product, I can see their top end and bottom end of their debt to income ratio. Will they qualify? I can push this one through. This one's going to be a little rough. But my presentation's complete. I can go in, set it up in the analysis window, anything I want to set up, and then I'm going to use a cheat over here on the right-hand side to preview my presentation. But you can see it's complete, and I just use those product templates this time versus using the strategy templates, and it still is a pretty fast way to build it out. It comes down to, if you're not jumping in, if you're not getting your feet wet and practicing, you're not going to do it. It's going to stay hard. Most loan officers say that it does take them either jumping in every day for a week or 15 to 20 presentations. It really comes down to your learning curve and how advanced you are or how quickly you learn technology. Technology is like shooting a basketball. When you first go in and you first are shooting that basketball and trying to get it in the net, it's not going to go right in, and it's going to take practice and time, and you're going to adjust things and get it the way that you want it so it's going in the net. Technology, the same thing. Our technology does not change every day. It stays the same. It just requires you jumping in and you practicing it every day in order to get that ball in and feel comfortable with your shot every time. Any other questions? We have about 20 minutes left, so plenty of time to jump into if there's any strategies you want to see. Any questions you have pertaining to your own account. Maybe you started a presentation and you're not sure that you're on the right track and you want me to jump into your account and check on that presentation. I am more than happy to jump into your account and check on anything as well. Oh, that's a great question. So, question is, I already filled up 4 products for a client. How can I build out another one identical without starting from scratch? If you go into, there's 2 spots to start it. If I go into Ben, I can click on analysis. There is a copy analysis to the current client. This will build me 2 identical presentations. If I go in to, and I'll get to your question as well, if I go into my search all, I can put in my client's name. Whoops, it didn't bring it up. Probably user error. We're going to do it this way without his name. I don't know what's going on. Remember, I'm in a demo account, so sometimes things do not go the way I plan them to. And I find my client, and I'm just going to pick a random client. Clicking on that folder is going to open the folder up. Now, if I just want to drop in and start from scratch, let's say I closed this one in 2018, and they want to refi. I don't have to go into this. I can just click an add analysis, and it's going to add all of Daniel's information, but it's not going to add property information. This is also great if you have a client who maybe buys investment properties and you have several properties for that person. Stack them all under the same person. So I'm just going to click add analysis. Are you sure you want to add it? Yes, I am. And now I can go in and add that analysis. If I go into my search all and I want to copy the analysis, I'm going to open the folder and actually click on the product or the presentation TCA that I did previously. And I'm going to use copy analysis on this one. Clicking on that copy analysis, do I want to copy to a new client or a current client? If I'm putting it underneath the same folder, I'm clicking on current client and clicking on OK. And that allows you where you don't have to start from scratch every single time. Even if you have two clients, let's say Chad is identical to John. I can go in here, I can click on the analysis, copy that to a new client, click on OK, add John's information, and you'll notice everything in here is already in there. So if I do need to make changes to the interest rate, or maybe they qualify for a different home price, I can make those changes, but I'm not recreating the whole will. I'm just copying another presentation and making subtle changes. Okay, so if you're adding a strategy template, it's a double asterisk in the front. It will not go into your client list. So if you're using a client that you've done in the past to build a strategy template off of it, then what you want to do is you want to click on that client and you're going to copy that analysis to a new client just like we showed. Now I'm going to switch this over to a strategy template, and this is 30-year, whoops, my typing skills, with and without points. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to delete information out of here. I don't want a current property value. I'm deleting the current property value. I'm deleting the interest rate. I'm going to do the same thing in my other one. Delete the property value, delete the interest rate. And then I now have that template ready for me to use. But it still has my client that I started with left alone. So does that make sense? Perfect. Any other questions? Trying to think of other little secret thingies that make it easier. Remember, partners also, if you are working in the partner area, don't create that partner every time. Go into your search all and stack it underneath your clients, or stack it underneath, and that way you don't have them in there. Let's see. I know I'm sure I have one with multiple in here somewhere. But you want to stack them so you only have one of their name. You don't want to see this, Sally Moore, Sally Moore. You want them all underneath there. The secret on this one is use the address of the property when you're building out that property address. So if I'm just going to go in here, down here, presentation name, use the property address. That's going to allow you to be able to come in and identify them quickly in the search engine, which property is which. But you're not going to have to go in and reset up that realtor every time. You're already going to have all their information in there with their picture and everything ready for it to roll.
Tina,
Yes,
can you do an open house flyer, please?
I sure
I'm
can.
doing a open house on Sunday,
Okay, I'm gonna
tentatively.
go into that partner area, clicking on my new partner. You're going to be my realtor and I'm going to be myself. I would add all their information in here as much as you have. You don't have to put the type here unless you want to. It's not going to show up. And remember, put the address here. Contact information. This information up here shows up on the TCA. So I would want to put the company name, email address, cell phone number, their BRE, license number, whatever it is, as well as their website. Now I'm just going to grab this website and throw it in there so we can see a sample. I'm not worried about this. It doesn't show up on the presentation. If you want to throw it in there for yourself, you can. But everyone who's been on here a few times knows I'm a less is more girl. The less I have to do, the more happy I am. I would then add the headshot by clicking on the browse, finding a headshot, and I'm going to quickly throw one onto my desktop. So again, clicking on that browse, it's on my desktop. I always save stuff to my desktop that I don't want on my computer and I want to quickly delete. That's loaded up. I'm going to load up a logo as well. So I would come in here and find a logo. Again, clicking on open to get that logo in there. I'll actually add a logo as well. We're just going to add a random, a random logo. And truthfully, the screenshots show up really well because the photo isn't really big. So it's not going to get pixely if you're taking screenshots, and that's the easiest way to load it up in here. Then I'm going to go to my property. Property, I'm going to put that address on there. And this stuff does show up on there, so make sure that it is wrote in a way that is presentable. Anything about the house. So the asking price of the house, square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, listing link. Again, it's going to the site. Now, when you do this, make sure you are going to the actual realtor site and not to a Zillow, Redfin, even like a general Keller Williams site. You want the actual to lead it back to the loan officer or to the realtor themselves. Adding features are simply checking boxes. If there's something on the listing that's not there, you can add it here. Now, on here, you notice I capitalized and I made them similar because you want it to stay aesthetically pleasing. I would upload images. I'm just going to use same images I just took pictures of. Image 2, you can only show 2 images on the presentation. The reason we have the ability to have a third image is just in case your realtor doesn't like one of the images you choose, you have a third one to quickly change it out. And then your products. This again is where your product templates are going to come into play and make it so easy. My FHA, 3.5% purchase. I'm going to drop in my interest rate. I would do a quick verification. Does everything look great in there? Is there anything I need to add? Maybe this property has an HOA. I need to add that info in there. And then this one's not added. There we go. Then I'm going to add another product. Second product, 20% conventional. Remember, products don't have to match here. They simply have to be products that could possibly sell in that area. Actually, I'm going to put 30-year fixed. I want my client to know what it is. And I'm going to add the interest rate. Again, checking to make sure, and this is why that consistency comes into place, is because you want it all to match. Everything looks good. I would add my next product. I'm going to say, because of where I live, VA. I'm going to add from that product template. First time use. Now, if you have VA first time use product templates in there, please remember that things did just change on them not too long ago. I know mine's wrong. Actually, mine's right. It's 2.3 now, and I don't remember the subsequential, but make sure that you do have those correct ones in there because it doesn't automatically update in our system. I'm going to only add 3 products. Make sure that the product, it's on Open House, all 3 products are checked. Going into the detail, this is where it starts that co-branding. You want it to match with the realtor who's selling it. If the realtor put cute cottage home, put the presentation name cute cottage home. Whatever it is that they used, you want it to match because you want it co-branded. So, great home for area. I don't care what it is, as long as it is co-branded and it matches the realtors the way that they place things. Pricing label, price decrease, low price. You want something that grabs attention here based on the price. Then my images that I uploaded. When I click here, that's how I switch between them. And then I'll come down here and I can choose the image. Now, here's one that I do not like the notifications on because you don't know who's opening it up in most cases. Or if you're going to have it in an open house or your realtor sending it out to people, I don't want to get a notification every single time someone's looking at that property unless I know where it's coming from or unless I'm tracking my marketing. I can make 2 identical presentations and track my marketing by watching how many hits each of them get. Adding in my quote date and clicking on the preview. So co-branded, all of that information I placed in there is in there, as well as her logo. The photos of the home would be here. Information about the home. Basic products are going to be there. This is like the summary area. Fee details will give that breakdown. If there's a payment stream, it will show up in that payment stream. FHA, conventional, loans that are less than 20% might have those. ARM loans definitely do. The payment breakdown and the property features. Your clients have that ability to just click on that link to go to that site. So if they want to go right to the realtor site, they just click on the link and they go right into there. Another thing that if you're only working with one house with that client, you can put that link to the actual house here. So then when they click on that, it goes to the house. Now that will not work if you have multiple homes at the same time. So only if you normally do one deal at a time. Maybe that's that one realtor that you do one house, open house with them like every 3 months. Change that link out every time. So when the person clicks on it, if they're in the presentation, it takes them right to that house in the realtor site. So they don't have to go through and find the home. Just one of those little secret tricks. Same thing over here, they would have translate. If you have translate open up on yours, print, share, and clear all. Printing. For anyone who used to try to print the flyer, and my pictures don't look great, but this one is showing pushing over some info on the second page. Choose pages, custom, 1. Then it's only going to print that one page. You're not going to get that second page feed. Any questions on that open house flyer? I'm amazed at myself. I did remember to record today. So if you do want a copy of the recording, please email me, tina@mortgagecoach.com. And as soon as it is uploaded, I will send there. Okay, Karen, I'll send you the link. Send me an email requesting the link and I'll send you the link from it and you'll be able to watch it. I do have another training that I need to jump onto. So I do have to jump at there. So perfect. Thank you all. I hope that you guys are all doing well, safe in your homes, and life is still good. Lock those loans. Have a great day. Bye-bye.